Hey guys, welcome to the Good Stuff Podcast. I'm Derek.
And I'm Ashley. Both raised in Marysville, Ohio, we decided to stay here and raise a family and start 2 small businesses because we absolutely love our community.
We just want to take some time to celebrate the good people, places, and things here in our community that we love and share some of that good stuff with you.
So, enjoy the good stuff.
All right, welcome guys. Today we have Terri Waller, the extraordinary. Got to know Terri. She is one of my best clients. How many is it? How many houses have you bought and sold?
I have bought 3 houses through you.
3?
Sold 2 through you.
Yeah.
Maybe you sold another one. I think we started in 2015.
Yeah, not that long.
Yeah. I think the house that I'm in now is the longest I've been in. You said what? As of November, I'd been in there 2 years.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Getting itchy.
Let's sell her.
Commitment.
I know, I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
Well, I've kept my husband around for a while, so.
Just geographic commitment.
Yeah, geographic commitment. That's true.
And what else do you do?
So here I work at Marysville High School. I work in the front office there. I coach girls wrestling with them. I'm also a mom, a wife, and I teach jazzercise here in your awesome studio.
2 rooms that way.
Busy.
And
I know. I'm
half
sure
an hour.
they'll probably be able to hear me. Did you guys hear me last week on the podcast?
We did.
Yeah, a little bit. And we threw
Like
out
a techno beat going.
Yeah, we were like, isn't that fun? You could just come on in.
I
Take a
know.
class.
Sometimes I'm curious if I even need a microphone. So.
Well, the neighbors 2 doors down have.
I've heard. I'm actually very nervous about teaching a day class.
Don't be nervous.
Oh no, you're good. I think you're good.
But they actually, since I took time off during wrestling season, I'm having problems like managing my sound from like before I start class, just because I haven't found my happy medium.
Oh, yeah.
So once I find that, because I know my voice tends to carry.
That'll help.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. Well, I think it's gotten all figured out.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here. So,
Yeah, I
we
think.
have questions.
Yeah. I think you wear a lot of hats, so let's just kind of one at a time. So talk about school. You work in the front, so that means
do.
you're
I am
around.
the keeper of MHS. That is what my signature says.
Love it.
This is my first year up at the front desk. For the past 3 years, I've been in the back of the boat in the attendance office. So
Okay.
I've been doing the attendance thing, truancy, that type of stuff. Last year, I took a short break from the high school. I always said that with my daughter, because I have 3 kids, 12, 8, almost 6. So she's in kindergarten this year. That I would go back to being in the legal field. I was a paralegal for a while.
Yeah.
And a position opened that I was super excited for, and I just felt like I couldn't pass it up. And I was there for 12 weeks, and I was like, yeah, this isn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
I can be very serious when I need to be, but it's just that's not where I was in my career field anymore.
Sure.
You can't really do TikToks with the paralegals and lawyers.
Oh, don't think that there's not like lawyer TikTok, because there is. I found it.
Well, I was just referring to the TikToks I've seen with you and the kids.
Oh yeah, but yeah, it was very serious. It was a lot of time commitment, and it really just.
I'm sure totally different energy.
Yeah, it is a totally different energy. And like they were working with me really well. Like I still had school hours, and that was great. And the guy is a great guy. It just wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
And I think I needed that closure to know for sure.
Sure.
So-
Sure. Well, I think, so it's kind of a unique position because you are around kids, you're around parents, you're around teachers, you're around all the faculty.
Yeah.
There's all of the people involved in school.
Yeah. And
You
like
get
I
to see.
cannot go out in public without not seeing somebody.
Yes.
People constantly joke because I did not grow up in Marysville. My husband did. He
Yeah.
is from Marysville. And people are always like, oh, you live here because of him? Like, he knows people because you know everybody. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know a stranger. You're willing to listen. I'm willing to talk at any time. So that works out well.
We'll talk for a second before we get into wrestling. Talk for a second just about school. So we know the last couple of years have been weird and challenging and bumpy on all fronts, particularly as it's related to school. But I also know from working with kids, there's also just some really beautiful things that have not necessarily come out of it, but that have happened as a result. So is there anything that comes to your mind where you're like, I really saw kids do what, or I really,
So like my second year at the high school was 19 and 20. So when that shutdown happened in March, so it was like really weird just because I had only had about a year and a half of like normalcy before COVID hit and everything shut down. And to me, it was really amazing how the community came together because like when you think of kids not coming to school, you think of, oh, what about the kids that this is their one meal a day or their home life is not that great and you're their safe place or, all of those things start to come into play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially like, you have to think about that. And it was amazing how the community came together because like I said, I worked in the office, but I was still going in I was a lunch lady. I got to help pack all of the lunches that went to thousands of kids for a whole week.
Yeah.
But then it was nice because I could literally go out because at that point I was in house number 3 in Mill Valley where everybody lives. And like I could just walk, like you walk out and like there's just everybody was there trying to keep their space, but like enjoying their family time, which in a way, while it was a terrible place to be for the pandemic, it was kind of nice because people were able to spend that time with their families and grow from that and learn from that. Where my husband works at Honda, he does not get time off like that ever.
Sure.
And that's family time that nobody's going to get back. But coming back to school from the pandemic was different. Mm-hmm. And it was a struggle. Mm-hmm. And even though it was like we started as a hybrid schedule, so it was 2 days a week that kids were with you, half of them, and then half were on the other 2 days.
Sure.
I think everybody was just happy to at least be together for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Than none at all, just because, I have 3 kids now, and it was tough, them having to be home and teach themselves. Well, it's hard to look through a computer screen and get that type of care that you need growing up.
Right.
You don't realize how much kids need you until you don't see them.
Yeah.
So, like, in the summer, like, even when we come back from school at the beginning of each year, like, kids are just so excited to be back, even though, like, I have high school kids, and they're like, oh, I hate this place.
I think just because they think
but
that's
now
what they're
when
supposed to say, but it's like, come on, I see your face.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, like, I constantly run into kids who have graduated, like, that are working at grocery stores or restaurants around town, and they're like, oh, I miss it. And I'm like, I told you. Right. Can I say I told you so now?
Yeah.
Well, I always find it interesting when it comes to jobs. Anytime, at least that I can remember, that anybody's ever left a job, what do you miss about your job? People always say the people.
The people, yeah.
Nobody, or it's like, oh, I miss the people. Well, like, it was cool to, like, do, they'll talk about one part of the job. But for the most part, it's always the people. But when you go to a job interview, you're never like, hey, can I go hang out with these people this weekend?
Get to know them a little bit.
Like, that's what's always most important in a job, but nobody ever really pays attention to it when it comes to, like, where do I want to work? And
Well, it would be kind of cool. I need to, like, see if I vibe with your people before I can interview for this job.
It's true. Like, we had a really good office group last year at the high school, and 2 of them have left. One finished up and got her LPN, and then one went to Dublin, Scioto, which is really close to her. She lives in Dublin, so it made sense.
Yeah.
And, like, we still get together just because, like, I was just texting them some of my TikToks earlier that I was finding. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, which one of these are you and which one is me? But now I'll say that we're back into a regular school year. It's a little wild.
Yeah.
Kids, like, you can tell that they haven't had the interaction that they need all the time.
Sure.
So it's like they get out and it's like they don't know how to act in public. It's like training, like we were talking about our kids.
Yes.
It's like, from like 2 to 4, you can't go out to a restaurant because your child acts crazy and doesn't know how to act in public. Well, that's where every teacher in every school building is at right now. No children K through 12 knows how to act at all times. It's a little wild. They like to be a little bit of everywhere. And, it's hard. You went from, 3 hours of schoolwork, doing it at your own pace, at your own time.
Yeah.
To now you're stuck with us. At the height, it's 6 hours and 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Excluding lunch. It's a long time.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of kids during that time when they did only, they knew my schoolwork takes up 3 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
I have all this other time that I can, if I wanted, I could start doing other things. Maybe it's get a job. Maybe it's
get
involved in something else, or maybe it's just get extra addicted to my phone or my, whatever.
Yeah, the cell phone.
Yeah, good or bad. But now it's like, well, now I had a full work or a full school schedule.
Yeah.
But I also still want to work, and I have these extracurriculars, and now I'm just completely overloaded.
Yeah.
Overcommitted.
Well, and we did have that problem. So I think it was last March, maybe right before spring break or right after spring break, where we went back to the full 5 days a week, and we had a lot of upperclassmen that were like, oh, wait, like I work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because I don't normally have school. What am I going to tell my boss? And I'm like, your boss, they have to understand, like, you are still a student. That's your number one. Do I need to call your boss? Because I will.
There are laws that say you go to school, not work, right?
Yeah. Well, and I just think that, the economy, people are having problems keeping people hired. And
Yes.
So they're finding students, and they're getting paid well. Believe me, I do work permits also at the high school. And I'm always like, oh, what are you making these days? And I'm like, oh, wait, like, hey, maybe I need to go be a bagger at Kroger. Like, that's some good money. Can I do that 40 hours a week? Seems stress-free. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're slowly starting to get better. It's still a lot of time, but now as it's getting better, we're at the end of the school year.
Yeah.
So the weather is starting to change. Senioritis. Kids are like, ooh, spring break's right here. Summer's here. Just a few more weeks. So there's that now.
Yeah.
Got to that 4-year-old stage, and now we're back to 2. So maybe we'll try again in August.
Yeah. See how old they are then. Yeah. Okay, girls wrestling.
Yes.
Super exciting.
Very exciting.
So how did that come about? How did you get involved?
Well, so I met the coaches, Sean Andrews and his brother Nate, when my kids started wrestling. So Oliver, he's my middle son. He started when he was 3. And Brian's first year in Marysville, because my first house was in Ben Logan School District. So he was in first grade or second grade when we moved back to Marysville, and we put him in the wrestling program here. So they've been wrestling for a while. I grew up a little bit around wrestling. I had a brother that wrestled. My dad wrestled. And then I statted in high school.
Okay.
So my first year at the high school, I didn't do a whole lot with the program. But my second year, I got to talking to Sean about like his stats and that type of thing. And I was like, oh, well, I would love to take that on. Because when I was in high school, that was another teacher that did that. So she was the head of all the stats and did that stuff to help run tournaments. So that's how it started.
Okay.
Well, year 3 rolls around because in 2020 it ended early. So that was their first year with the girls program. He started having these intro to girls wrestling practices. And I had a student come up. It was the first one in September of 2020. So at the beginning of the school year. She's like, do you know where this meeting's at? Can you find the wrestling room? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll walk you down there. I actually have to go teach a jazzercise class, so I can't stay long. Let me change. I'll take you down there. And as he was introducing himself and like some of the girls who were returning saying, and he was like, also, this is Coach Walter. And I was like, joke's on you. I was like, you're ridiculous. Like, don't tell them that. Like, this is not true.
Yeah.
But as everybody will say, and he will tell, I tell everybody, he is the most wordy man I have ever met in my entire life. Like, he will talk about that cup of coffee for 32 minutes and 57 seconds, and you will be like, I need that cup of coffee by the end of the conversation. Like, you will want it. And so I was like, I'll give this a go, and that's how it started.
So you were sold into it.
Yeah, it took a couple of days of talking.
Couple cups of coffee.
That's coffee.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I need that coffee. And now here I am. I'm on my break. He has states this weekend with the boys. And I've been twiddling my thumbs for the last 3 weeks. Like, what do I do with all this spare time on my hands?
Yeah.
So you are the girls coach, or are there others?
So girls wrestling was just sanctioned in January, but it does not begin until next season.
Okay.
So everything right now is seen under as co-ed wrestling of the boys program. So Sean Andrews is the head coach of the entire program.
Gotcha.
I'm one of the primary girls coaches, so I am there Monday through Sunday with all the practices, and I go to all the tournaments and that type of thing. And then we have a couple of assistant coaches that also help out during the week, Coach Crane, Coach Orr, and Coach Wimmers.
Okay.
So they have been like my rocks through this entire process.
Yeah.
While I get to do all the computer stuff and the background things, like getting things together for them, the technique is still something that I'm working on perfecting.
Sure.
And that I rely a lot on them. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Do I get out there and scrap a little? Yeah.
Show them how it's done.
Show them mama's got it still.
You got a 5-year-old who's like coming up through the ranks. You got to be able to, show her what's
Well,
up.
and so like that's the other exciting thing is while I've taken on this position with the girls wrestling team, I've also been with youth in the middle school girls as well.
Cool.
So girls youth practices were twice a week. I was also at those. And sometimes it's easier to like run little girl practices versus big girl practices.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Little girls just think I'm great.
Yeah.
And I'm so much fun.
Yeah.
Where the big girls
forgot how to-
sometimes they're like, listen, lady,
We know more than you.
I'm tired of running. You've made me run the last 17 minutes and this is ridiculous.
Yeah. And you're like, if you're talking, run again.
Listen, I like to say, listen, you're in the best shape of your life.
And if
And there's
you
a
can't
reason.
wind
Look at your records and look at your success. It doesn't just come from wrestling.
No.
Like you guys, they work hard. So
And it was an incredibly successful season.
it was a very
talk about
successful
that.
season. So out of 121 teams, they were second in state.
That's incredible.
And then they had their first ever girls only state duels this year. We hosted that here at Marysville High School. And they were also runner-up to Olentangy Orange. They were first. So just the whole atmosphere. Like, I know sometimes they were all like, because last year they were state champions.
yeah.
And so.
But really only like kind of 3 years, right?
Yeah, it's only been
it's
around
not
for-
like it's
2020 was the first year.
and that was kind of
of the
a
girls'
year.
state tournament. That's it.
Yeah.
And even then, that was third place. And they had like 9 girls.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
incredible.
truly amazing. And what I've noticed, like this year at the state tournament versus like even last year, matches are getting longer. Competition is getting harder.
Sure.
And that comes with the growth of girls wrestling. You shouldn't just be able to go out there and just win pin. You got to work. You got to earn it.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to see that not only in our program are we growing and going the extra mile and doing the extra practices at other facilities, like getting out there and getting to know people, so are other people. And that's amazing.
Sure.
Hey, you've talked about cross training with dance.
Hey.
Yeah, you should bring your wrestlers over. Do some like
it's actually
tech
funny.
stuff.
I keep telling the girls that they need to come to a jazzercise class. So
Yeah.
they'll be in
Oh,
here.
you
You just
know.
wait.
Okay.
They always joke about it, and I'm like, then they'll understand what all that conditioning's about.
Yes.
Because they laugh because they're like, how do you teach for an hour and you can just talk?
You know what?
I was like, it's a lot of
asked the same
practice.
thing.
I asked the same thing.
It's a lot of practice.
I'm sure it is because
Yeah.
there's times where I'm like, how are they speaking on that stage? I am like
know.
huffing and puffing, and you guys are just like talking like it's no big deal.
Listen, there's moments where you might see me move my mic and I'm like, let me get a moment.
Oxygen.
Let me get a moment here.
I just keep thinking as I'm like, working hard, barely being able to breathe. I've just like goals. Being able to like actually
I'm just saying,
speak.
I mean, you could just certify now.
Actually
Dance
speak.
teacher, jazzercise, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I have a lot of.
She's got a list long enough already. Thank
Well,
you.
no, I
Of
was gonna
what?
say.
She's here already.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I have a lot of practice to get to the point of being able to do like an hour-long jazzercise class and speak.
It
Enthusiastically.
takes a lot of
Enthusiastically.
practice, but I mean, it just comes with time.
Yeah, I this sidetrack, but I mean, I don't think I've taken class from all of the jazzercise instructors because there's a lot of you.
There are a lot of
But
us.
every jazzercise instructor I've taken class from, I am like incredibly impressed. You guys are crazy prepared. Like everybody's super fun. You talk through like you all amaze me. You all amaze me. I'm like, yeah, seriously, you're my goal because it's like
Well,
I'm over here like dying, and you guys are cheery and like pumping everybody up.
my first year coaching, some of my seniors that have left now, which I love when they come back and visit. It's always great, but it was always funny because like at one point they're like, you gotta tone it down. Like you're really positive and like supportive. Like sometimes I need you to yell in my face. And I was like, oh, I teach women's fitness classes, and yeah, got to find an even balance here. So
if I ever see you get angry and jazzercise, I'll be like, wrong class,
wrong time.
people.
I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get me angry. I wouldn't even say that they ever make me super angry.
Yeah.
We, Sean and I like to play good cop, bad cop.
Sure, I get that. I get that.
I like him to be the bad cop most of the time. And
I generally play the good cop.
Yeah, I like to be the good cop there. I get to be the bad cop at home.
Same.
Because I'm not there all the time because of wrestling season.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it just works out.
Yeah. So as, I think when you're like talking about all of the successes of wrestling, it's not just about the numbers, but there's really other incredible things I'm sure that are happening, whether it's between the girls, it's growth of girls.
Yes.
Beyond beyond the stats and their, hard accomplishments.
Oh yeah. The relationships that they're building. I actually just, I had a gentleman reach out to me. He's a student at Taze Valley, and he sent me some questions because he's writing an article.
Yeah.
So he wanted to know a lot of the back stuff, like, do you make your girls cut weight?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean, there's been a lot of horror stories that come with that.
I'm sure,
and even when last year, being the only female coach on staff, like I get a lot of parents that come to me and talk to me like, you're not going to do this to my daughter.
Sure.
And it's natural. People start to work out continuously. They naturally lose weight on their own. We talk about nutrition. We have a lot of, what's the right word? We have a lot of things available to us with Memorial Health being available to us. Like we have a strength and conditioning coach, Grant Smith, who works at Memorial, and they work out with him 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah. And that's year round, basically.
Yeah.
Preseason and then in season. We're on a break right now because we just finished.
Sure.
But that'll pick up again come summer. And then we also have people who come talk to us about dietary needs. So, what's up? Yeah. Well, anyway, so they have all kinds of things. So, I haven't specifically said, hey, you wrestle 170 pounds, but I want you at 145. You need to start cutting weight.
Sure.
Naturally, we just see where they all fall. And then as the season goes on, we keep the line of communication open.
Uh-huh.
I always ask the girls, I'm like, what's your goal?
Uh-huh.
What weight class do you want to wrestle in? And then we see where they start. And then if that is a realistic goal, then I can support them in a healthy manner of getting there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a girl that's 170 and her be like, I want to wrestle 120.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's also hydration testing that they have to do at the high school level. So the boys do that, the girls do that, and they can only wrestle at certain weights by certain times. Okay. So that also comes into play.
Yeah.
So even if they came in and they're like, I want to be 170.
So what's the idea of changing weight classes? I mean, it seems like cutting weight. Logically to me, the heavier you are, the more you've got to throw around and stronger you are.
And that's just a little bit of the different things. Like some of the the upper weight classes, it's different technique. So they do different things where the little tiny lightweights are they're super exciting to watch because they're constantly moving and rolling, and where when it's upper, it's a lot more strength and
so it's what kind of like your personality. What's your personality when it comes to moving?
Yep. Are you heavy on your feet? Are you light on your feet? Up and down. How does that work?
Why would
No, I feel like you should come to a stance of motion class.
Stance of motion.
Stance of motion.
Yeah, I did. I think I wrestled in 7th grade or something. That was my only exposure to wrestling.
Yeah.
And you want to hear I wrestled a girl once story?
Oh, how'd that go?
I'm sure you've heard this before.
I haven't, but I'd love to hear it.
No, I'm saying a similar story.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I was never an athlete. Not that I wasn't athletic, but I was way more into the social scene than getting into anything. I mean, still to this day, I don't pay attention to sports. But anyway, I'm wrestling a girl. Okay. And I think it was just that classic intimidation of I don't know what to do here. And
I can't touch you.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Oliver, he, so it was in December, they went to a duel. I was away with the girls team. And so my husband took him to a duel with some of the other boys. And a girl walked out for his one match. He's lost 3 times this year. And one of them was to this young little girl, which go her.
Yeah.
But I got home that night and I was like, how'd it go today? And I had known, my husband had texted me and he went, I had to wrestle a girl today. I don't even know why she was there. She has her own tournaments to go to. And I'm like, well, at that point, we still weren't sanctioned. And because girls wrestling is growing, the younger crowd is still wrestling with boys. Charlotte wrestles with boys. And she's got no problem with it. She goes out there and she is
Well,
tough
I'm telling you,
little
from
cookie.
the boys' side, it's a little awkward.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I mean, from what I can remember in 7th.
Well, and then some of our girls, like in 2020, a lot of them did wrestle at boys' duels because there was not as many options
Girl options.
for
Yeah,
all
yeah,
girl events.
yeah.
Like this past year, we were able, every event we went to was all girls. And now we don't have as many duels because there's not as many full all girl wrestling teams. But I mean, over time, it'll eventually get to that.
Yeah.
So that'll be super exciting when we get there. And I hope to be along for the ride.
That's super cool.
Woo!
Super
So,
cool.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
Well, thank you for doing good stuff at the school, in
Yes.
jazzercise class,
Our young people.
in wrestling, all young people. Thank you. Did that turn off?
Oh,
Yeah.
Half an hour.
I broke it.
No.
No, it
It's
just.
got a 30-minute limit.
30-minute limit.
Yeah. We'll just do a wrap up.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, remember it's called a. What did you say? Do good challenge. We didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Got
do
it.
the challenge.
Yeah. No, so thank you. Thank you for
I just burped into the camera.
Not cutting that out.
Dang it.
Good, Terry.
It just happened so quickly. Whew.
Happens to the best of us. But thank you, as my wife was saying. for
Yes.
burping
Yeah.
on the microphone. No.
Yeah. Bringing joy all over the
Yeah,
all over the
there we go.
place. Yeah. So we always like to end with some sort of challenge for people to do. So it can be, we've done things like reach out to a mentor of yours and just tell them thank you, or like if next time you see a stranger, just recognize and say hi. You know, things like that. So what would your do good challenge for anybody listening?
Actually, I thought about this because I saw that on your list of things to be prepared for. And this past year, I have received so many letters back from prior clients just letting me know what kind of impact I made on their lives.
Yeah.
So I would want to tell everybody to take a moment, whether it's a card, a Post-it, a text message, or an email, send that person that made an impact on your life, let them know. 'Cause
Yeah.
they want to know.
Yeah.
Because every time I got it, I save them all.
Makes you feel warm.
Brightens your
It does
day,
make
for
me feel
sure.
all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again. Go see girls wrestling next time it's around.
Please.
Yeah.
We're hosting
Support
a
the.
freestyle tournament in May.
There you go. There you go. We've got some
I think.
killer ladies. So, or come take a jazzercise class.
Yeah, come take a jazzercise class.
Well,
Super
you guys
fun.
Enjoy things. Whatever.
Yeah.
You can see me around town anywhere.
Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.